Nation of Fit in 10, it is day 46, and we are 2/3 through the program. If you can believe it, we've got 1/3 of the challenge left, and please do not fret. Hopefully you booked your scan for this weekend. We're going to see your results. But please know that the last third of the challenge, you are more than likely, just based on history, you're more likely to lose more fat during the last segment of this challenge, just because there's a bunch of little things that basically add up for you to lose more fat. Essentially, your calories are slightly lower, you have a better understanding of what to do with your diet, your cardio is a little bit harder, you're more proficient at training, etc., etc. So there's all these things working towards helping you to lose a little more fat as the challenge moves forward. But more than anything, it's that consistency. The consistency of the right things. Is that digging away every single day, and as you dig and make that hole a little bit deeper, your body's going to be a bit more responsive to fat burning, or at least you're going to see it a bit more. Okay. All right. So, question from yesterday: is there merit in fat burning heart rate zone, or do you burn more fat as your heart rate moves towards your max? Okay. So just for again, to answer this question in a very simplistic fashion, you're not burning as much energy at a lower heart rate, but the greater percentage of the energy is coming from fat. If you burn, or if you're training at a higher intensity, less of that energy is coming from, you're burning more energy per unit of time, of course. So you're going to burn more energy overall, but less of it is going to be fat, so less percentage. Now, I will say this: if you chew through a lot of energy, whatever type of energy it is, whether it's coming from fat stores or protein stores or carbohydrate stores, you're going to lose weight, obviously, right? The energy's got to come from somewhere. And let's just say you burn some from fat, we're able to preserve that protein, and I'll talk about this in another video because it doesn't really work that way. It's not like protein's just sitting statically. It's going up and down every day, as are many things in the body. But you're chewing through some carbohydrates as well. And then by chewing through those carbohydrates, now you're at a deficit in carbohydrates. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say it's glycogen in the muscle. Okay, because that's our biggest reserve for carbohydrates. So now if you're at a deficit, or if you're slightly depleted, when you have more carbohydrates at some point, your body's going to be more apt or more likely to pull that sugar away and into the muscle. So you have less chance of storing that as fat. Okay, so there's all these dynamics that are happening in the body, and that's just one example. Okay, there's all these dynamics that are happening in the body. So it's not just like you're gaining fat, you're losing fat, that type of thing, or you have a bad meal, you're gonna gain some fat, or you have a good meal, you're losing fat. It's not. It doesn't necessarily work like that, right? It's an accumulation of all these things that are happening. Okay, so if you do the higher intensity cardio, let's just say, and you chew through more sugar, you do more glycolytic training is what we would basically call it. That is, you're using more energy coming from sugar, less of it's coming from fat. You're still creating a deficit in those energy stores, and we've got to replace that. And if we don't, that's going to make your body more apt to. It's got to compensate for that. And that will result in more fat loss. Okay, so the downfall with harder cardio, or harder or more energy demanded on the spot for long periods of time, or doing it frequently, is you are going to, in that balance of protein between protein building and protein degradation, the protein degradation is going to go up, right? And so this is why if you do, extreme calorie deficit, or you do lots of cardio, you will lose muscle. If you do some of that, you will not. And muscle is your friend. As much as you may think, I don't have any interest in being big, I don't want to be a bodybuilder, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, it's in your interest to keep fat off, to have you looking toned. And maybe let's put aside the, if you want to call it, vanity aspect of this. It really has a function for you as you age, especially because you're just going to lose muscle mass as you age anyways. That's all that's happening as you age. The muscle mass is just going away. And remember, muscle mass is, you may think of it as just like, oh, it makes me strong. No, it's what allows us to move. Okay, it's what allows us to move. And it has a lot of health benefits, one being just that it's a reservoir for sugar. The more muscle mass you have, the more sugar, the better regulatory, you could think of, system you have for managing sugar intake. You'll manage it better. You'll also increase the receptivity of the muscle to pulling sugar in. This is important because sugar's got to go somewhere if it's in your bloodstream. It can't stay in your bloodstream. Your blood sugar levels cannot stay high. You're going to have problems, okay? And you're going to get fat for sure, okay? So, different topic altogether. All right, is running or cycling better for fat burning? Big question here. This is maybe not the right, this is perhaps too looking at one slice of the pie and the whole pie of changing your body or losing fat. The one that you're going to burn more calories on, ultimately you're going to burn more fat. So I'm not sure if that's what you're asking. If we go to the fat burning zone question in this case, and you're running, it really boils down to the intensity of these first of all. Okay, so how intense are we going? And then, obviously if we're doing more intense, we're going to burn more calories. Okay, if we burn more calories, we're going to burn more fat. Okay, but that's just part of the picture here. So, you've got to consider all of that. There's a happy medium there. You'll know what I'm talking about if you go for a pretty intense hike that's 4 or 5 hours or 6 hours, then you come in and weight train the next day. You're just not going to feel as strong. You're not going to have that same kind of oomph. You're not going to have that same kind of, your nervous system and your body's just not going to be ready to go. So always remember this, one takes away from the other. One takes away from the other. But if we want to just single out calorie burning and fat burning, yeah, it just, again, these two things here, running or cycling, I know you're asking which one's better. Again, it just boils down to the intensity of it, okay? But remember, there's a happy medium with these things. There's a happy medium. What else do I want to say on this? Let me just come back to your question. Is running or cycling better for fat burning? Yeah, again, just intensity. Okay, you have to look at these things as activities that are burning energy, and they're burning energy per unit of time. And whether you do this hard or easy will make a big difference. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm just stopping myself from saying more, okay, because I don't want to go down a huge rabbit hole here. All right, let me say one thing too about your scan that's coming up. Okay, I hope that helps. Okay, maybe you want to give me something from what I said. Maybe you want to ask me some questions. You can even shoot it through Slack. Maybe you want to ask me some questions in terms of like, in response to what I said, okay? Because this is almost like more of a dialogue, I think, to some degree. Okay, what did I want to say? Oh yeah. For your scans, remember this, okay? Your muscle mass, especially if you're already a trained individual, you're used to weight training, you may not see an increase in your muscle mass. In fact, you could see a decrease in your muscle mass. And this is just simply because you've got an average muscle mass. Okay, so if you're somebody who's training regularly, let's take myself, or I know we've got some people in the challenge that are regular trainers. They've been training for a long time. We're not going to see a sudden increase in muscle mass. More than likely, we're not. Okay, the newbies are obviously going to see that because this is all new and the body's got to adapt, and that adaptation is going to give you more muscle mass. But consider the fact that when you're in a deficit and you're doing cardio, and perhaps you just weight train before, all of these things, and there's others, all of these things are going to be depletive, if that's a word. It's going to deplete the muscles of water, okay, or glycogen. Glycogen's mainly water, by the way, okay? So that means that the muscle mass is less. The muscle mass is just the mass of the muscle. Muscles are like bags of water, okay? The human body is about 70% water, depending on your muscle mass. It's, 65 to 70% water. We are just, pretty much bags of water. But especially your muscles. And this will go up and down. This is just not a static thing. So you're just taking a snapshot in time. And part of that snapshot is that glycogen. So, I've done scans. I can even show you guys, or I could do it for fun if you like. I do scans, and I've done it just for testing purposes every day, just to see what happens with my muscle mass. And it can be up and down. If you really want good results with your scan, don't do any physical activity the day before the scan. Do not do any activity the day before or the day of the scan. Okay? But the day before, the day before and the day of, especially. Okay, and you'll have a better muscle mass reading. Okay, because your glycogen will be replenished. Okay, message of the day. Oh man, I don't know if I have my messages of the day thing up. Okay, bear with me, please. Let me just pull it up here. Getting there. A couple more clicks. Okay, here we go. Day 46. It's not my favorite, but and I've already said it. You can still make mega massive change. You can still make mega massive change. I already talked about this, but I want to ensure you guys you can. Every day adds up. Every day adds up. Just to give you an idea, and I realize that this is more of an extreme example, but a lot of people in the physique world, not just bodybuilders, there's different kinds of physique categories. There's bikini, there's physique, there's fitness, there's all these different ones where physiques are being judged. Typically, a beginning to an end phase is like 12 weeks. Okay, and people do some massive changes. Now, I did a massive change one year where I literally lost, please don't take this as this is good to do or anything. This is really, didn't even produce the best result. It did not produce a good look on stage, by the way. I lost, so I went from 242 to I ended up weighing in, that was after water depletion. I was basically just under 200 pounds. Just call it 200 pounds. I went from 242 to 200 pounds over 10 weeks. Okay, so, a lot can happen in 10 weeks, right? So I ended up losing, 42 pounds. And that's, a large part of that was fat. I lost some muscle, obviously, because it was so extreme. But the point is you can make a lot of change. And the fact that you guys still have a third of this challenge, you can still make really good change. And you may not think that 5 or 6 or 7 pounds is a lot of fat, or 4 for that matter, but remember, it's all percentage-based. Your goals are percentage-based. And you would be quite surprised how much this can add up, okay? Even people who lose half of their goal. I've seen many before and afters where it's a person loses, 15% or 17% of their fat mass. And the photos, they're quite dramatic. So, just keep that in mind. Wherever you feel like you're sitting right now, come in for your scan and let's just see where you sit, okay? You can still make a massive change. Way over the time limit as I was the last couple videos. I'm going to get back on track here. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude. Let me know if that fat burning question was answered. See you guys.